I honestly, wow, that was really good. I think we need to give Tim White a round of applause for really, truly coming up with that. That was good. Yeah, I thought we had it pretty slick, but after seeing that, that's not so much. I will tell you, though, it's funny because for the last 13 years, I've had the honor of working not only within our region, which is Region 6, which is everything from Pocahontas County all the way down to the coal fields, down to McDowell, Wyoming, and so on. And it's been an honor, really, to work not just in our region, but really with a lot of the other counties and communities all over the state of West Virginia. And it's amazing to see where we were 13 years ago compared to where we are now. The collaboration now has never been better. We've seen things come together in the last truly 6 months to a year that we never thought we would see before. And I think that's really a testament to the people working. And Tim, I want to let you know, where did he go? He might have ditched out. Did he get somewhere over there? I got my hero band on, so I'm good. We may not all wear capes. They say in The Incredibles you're not supposed to wear capes, so we'll stay away from that. But again, I've worked with many of you over the last few years, and I've seen a lot. Kathy Paxton, actually, when we were talking about this earlier, she said, "No, Greg, when you get up there and talk," she said, "you got to make sure you're going to be brief." And I said, "Well, I've never really been brief, so I'll do the best that I can." One of the things that sort of Tim and I have talked about in the past, because we do talk a lot. Tim is from my hometown of Princeton, West Virginia, and we realize that there has to be a dedication and a commitment from each one of us. And that although it may seem like we're all out there on an island sometimes and that we're just kind of running around and we're throwing stuff at the walls and seeing what sticks, in fact that we're doing the work that I think we're supposed to be doing. And down in Region 6, I've seen a lot of that come to fruition in the last few months. I can tell you that even just in my own small town, and we'll get to the PowerPoint and we've got a video here too, but just in Princeton, West Virginia, we hear a lot about the media about how bad things are taking over, and we know it's not true. Although we see bad things happen, we know that better things are on the horizon. There was a story that was done just in the last couple of days that WV and STV did, and I'm a media guy, so I love media, but unfortunately they tend to get the story wrong most of the time. Because what ended up happening was they said that the STD rate in Princeton and that Mercer County rate was still going up. One thing they didn't do is check their own facts that they had in their story, and that's saying that in June there were 28 instances at the health department of STDs. In July there were 26, and in August there were 22. Well, guess what? That's a 214% reduction in STD rates, and they reported it wrong in their own story. They also said that drugs and prostitution were still a problem on Mercer Street, and they got a couple of people to talk about it. Well, guess what? One of the officers jumped up and said, "Well, yeah," he said, "we still have a little bit of a problem, but we had 17 prostitutes about a year ago. We're down to 2. That's 880% reduction." So we've got to do whatever we can do to keep telling that story. And I think as we've seen here with every region represented today, we've got to keep telling that story, but we tell it from our side. And so with that, I want to tell you a little bit about Region 6. I'm going to go ahead and let you view the video of what we have. Well, it's great here within Region 6 with the Governor's Task Force because it's really looking at the comprehensive nature of everybody working together as a whole. Here within our region, we basically call it Prevention Without Borders, but it's not just about prevention. It's about how you have the whole continuum of care, everything from prevention, early intervention, treatment, and recovery. It's about getting everybody working together in the same system to where we all understand exactly where our own sort of our strengths lie and where we can be most beneficial for the communities we serve.
Our prevention partnership does a program called the Reality Tour, and right now it's the first in the state and I believe the only one in the state. The Reality Tour is a live dramatization of everything in substance abuse, from getting arrested to overdosing to a funeral. It's a great prevention and early intervention education program. It's really strong because we have a lot of community support. Our volunteers are real strong, and we have a lot of youth involvement as well. And we have a great partnership with the schools, churches, and other organizations.
Pocahontas County Prevention Coalition has been in existence in Pocahontas County for well over 6 years. We actually have programming that targets every age of our population. We do a lot of programming in our county schools, anywhere from kindergarten actually through the 12th grade. Every 2 years we do a poster that's called Warriors Above the Influence. Our high school mascot happens to be the Warriors. And through this poster, we allow students to be empowered to be above the influence of not only alcohol and drugs, but above the influence of any negative influences they might have in their life.
Pocahontas County Prevention Coalition is successful and unique because we've been able to form strong partnerships with our schools to educate and engage our students in activities and programs that support students' efforts to be above the influence. And this is what they have to say.
Pressure to drink, pressure to do drugs, and pressure to do anything that goes against who I am, just in order to fit in.
I will rise above the pressure.
But it's my call, my life. Every day I will choose how I want to live. I am above the influence.
Our program, Students Against Destructive Decisions, it gives hope to people that might not be able to find hope and gives a venue of light to people who can't find it. And if you ask me, I think that every kid, and sometimes people older than us, they look at us teenagers and they think that we're bad news. But I think that every teen can make an impact on their community, and that's what SAD tries to teach us to do.
I think the Hope Coalition is successful in McDowell County simply because it brings together all of the different partners around substance abuse and use. We have the law enforcement, we have the county commission that actually financially supported us. We have our alternative sentencing program. We have a wide variety of programs that we're doing with multiple partners. We have a unique connection with our Southern Highlands Community Mental Health Center. We pushed for SBIRT, which is screening, brief intervention, or referral to treatment. We finally got a program started with Welch Community Hospital in which they have now placed 3 individuals on not traditional hours. They work anywhere from 2 in the afternoon until 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning throughout the week. In the 3 months that it's been open, we've had 400 screenings. 285 of those have been positive screenings, and we have had 78 agree to talk to our counselors. So that program is working extremely well. We know that substance abuse has taken McDowell County over, and it affects every single aspect of our lives.
I would like to tell you about one of the programs at FMRS Health Systems, and it's called Turning Point for Families. It's a 16-bed, brand new treatment facility for women who are pregnant or postpartum. It's a 90-day program, but we encourage women to come as early in their pregnancy as they can and then stay until they have their baby and baby's healthy and mama's healthy. And it is a treatment recovery program for women who are, at the moment, primarily addicted to prescription pain medication.
Our program consists of a 90-day program. We have 18 beds, all men. We have the residents are heavily involved in NA and AA meetings. They do community service. They have classes on a daily basis.
Bridge Community Services, Bridging Resourceful Interventions to Develop Goals Effectively, is an organization developed to help individuals that are trying to transition their lives from drug and alcohol use, whether they've been incarcerated or they've come in off of the streets and they need to try to get their lives together so they can live chemically free, to help them to build bridges back with their family, employment, social services, mental health, just whatever it is that they need to get their lives back on track so they can live chemical-free lives.
You know, I think one of the major things that makes our region so effective is that, you know, we're very diverse in the programs that we offer and the people that we serve. And, you know, I think as you look forward to how we all collaborate together, it's really a great collection of everybody across the continuum, from prevention, early intervention, treatment, and recovery, because we all know that if we do it right, that prevention works, recovery happens, and treatment is certainly effective. I do want to thank, unfortunately, our regional coordinator for our prevention efforts, Jennifer Farmer, could not be here today. I was going to try to make her get up here and do a lot of this presentation. She was happy to decline and let me do it. Unfortunately, her daughter is ill, so she cannot be here today. One of the things that I want to talk about is that I found it interesting that when we started looking at the kickoffs here, that the titles were Region 1 did Transformations, a Continuum of Change. And now here we are at the very end, kind of boxing it in and talking about being united across the continuum, because I think that's really what it's all about. And in our region especially, I mean, that's kind of where we talked about it and what we could do to make things better, but we had to do it collaboratively. As you already know, Region 6 is, of course, the southern part of the state. It's down, we have a very diverse section, in case you haven't been down in our area. The southern coalfields is very sort of unique in its own characteristics, but it's completely different than all the way up in Pocahontas County. So we're really working on a variety of different levels throughout our region. Now, one of the things that we've seen is that prevention is also very critical to all ages. We know this. We do it amongst all of our different grantees throughout the state. Education and the training, of course, are essential. SBIRT is a critical service that we have found very beneficial in our region. We're focusing on recovery and also the workforce issue. And, you know, we've talked about this in the past. It's not just about the workforce that we have available, because we do have jobs in the state of West Virginia. Fact is, we have jobs that cannot have people that would pass a drug test to get those jobs. And we find that predominantly a lot down in our coalfields region and other places, so we know it's an issue. The next thing I want to talk about real quick is rural populations in general have a very specific challenge. Depending on where you are within this region, we understand that the health problems are a little more severe, and that the rural areas may be a little different than urban and suburban, like in Charleston or, you know, Huntington, up in Morgantown, somewhere like that. Rural populations also lack the insurance and access to those services we have, so we're trying to do the best we can to offset those issues. The issues that we focus in Region 6 a lot are the with pregnant women, children and transitioning youth, service members, veterans and families, of course, older adults, and then children of incarcerated parents as well. Now I'm going to give you top 10 reasons why Region 6 is changing lives. I feel that we have one of the strongest youth leadership organizations in the state of West Virginia, if not the nation. We got a young man here that was on the video, Jacob Snuffer, and I had gone to Pineville Middle School a couple years ago, and I had spoken down there when I was with our drug-free all-star team. And I brought Jacob up, and I talked about him to his own population there at the school, and I said, you realize you're in the coal territory down here, and what happens when you have coal, and you have issues, and you have pressure, and you have time? You end up with diamonds. Jacob is one of those, sorry. Sometimes I lose a little bit. Jacob is one of those diamonds. He's one of those kids that leads by example. He steps up and he makes things better. So, Jacob, stand up. Woo. Sometimes you just, you know, that's the way it works. Jacob is one of those kids. He actually has led the charge. He was focused a couple of years ago when we did the National Youth Leadership Initiative. Jacob kind of stood out. He was really one of those young people that was very active and engaged, and he really stood out to the people that came in, and he did so in such an amazing fashion that CADCA actually featured them in their annual report a year and a half ago. So on their national annual report. Also, to make sure that I tell this right, Wyoming County, West Virginia has had a SAD chapter that it's been in existence for 3 years. And this year, they won the award. It was third place in the United States at over 10,000 SAD chapters. They were third in the nation in Wyoming County, West Virginia. Also, I want to tell you a little bit about our faith-based initiatives. Of course, faith is an important component to everything that we do. We know in the state of West Virginia, we're tied a lot by our faith. And in the southern part, there's a church literally almost on every single corner. And so if we get young people actively involved and other communities involved in faith-based activities, we know that substance abuse rates will decline. We have an amazing group in Wyoming County and also Raleigh County. They are called One Voice, led by Deb Davis. She's doing an amazing job there, to the point of where she went to Raleigh County and they even gave her a home. This home that you see up there on the screen is actually a home that they had been given, donated 100% to their efforts there. Also, we have a group in Raleigh County called Mothers Against Prescription Drug Abuse. It's a group that came out and is really working strong in Raleigh County to do a lot of community-based change. And also, we started a new thing with our agency as well, because we knew that reaching young people was going to be the key to anything we do. So we started an initiative called HYPE, and that's Helping Youth Prosper Eternally. We've got a brand new youth conference that we're going to be working on in the next few months. We're even bringing in some amazing talent that's going to be coming in from a national scale to make that work. Number 3, diverse prevention strategies. Anything we do, we realize we have to be as diverse as possible. You've got to do unique things that are literally outside the box. You may have seen some of these things from our region, and you may have seen us overlapping into yours as well. I'm proud to have said that the Drug-Free All-Star basketball team is really ready to embark on their 9th season. We have done 273 games in that amount of time. Happy to do so. 4th, economic development and community revitalization. Robin Brown here and myself, and there may be a couple others. Robin is with the Richwood, what is it called? Richwood Reboot. Reboot Richwood. My apologies. And I'm with an organization right now. It's called the Princeton Renaissance Project. What we've done is we've looked at this from a standpoint of what can we do to revitalize our communities in which we have now, and how can we increase the economic viability of doing so. And we realize that if we increase the viability and change the dynamic of what we see in our communities, we will reduce substance abuse. If you're pushing things out from a downtown area and you're willing to reach out and do different things, then I guarantee you it's going to work. Like I told you about the prostitution problem earlier, we've squeezed that out of our downtown area, and we're now seeing economic revitalization wanting to come back to our downtown. And it's an amazing response. Oh, I also want to say, wait a minute, I'm going to go back on that one. When I say economic development and community revitalization, that bottom picture right there is a picture of the new teen center in Pineville, West Virginia. That is really, you talk about diversification. You got to reach out sometimes and do things a lot different, and you got to look for funds that may not be, readily on the table to go and do. And Kathy Brunny reached out to AEP, American Electric Power, and put in a grant application. They gave her $25,000 for refurbishment of a teen center that was donated to them to get youth off the streets and actively engaged in some really cool stuff. So, for Kathy. Early intervention efforts, we know that prevention only goes so far, and we know we're going to have youth that are going to get involved in possible negative activity, so we've got to intervene as fast as possible. We have several teen courts that are involved in the southern part of the state as well as we do in other areas. But we do focus on early intervention because we know that that is the next key logical step. Number 6, we have specialized in general treatment. We have several treatment options, 3 major community mental health centers within our region. We have FMRS, Seneca Health Services, and also Southern Highlands Community Mental Health Center. Of course, the family resource networks are critically important, not only to our region, but throughout the entire state. One of the things that we've seen as an FRN myself is that we are typically sort of a look-to point of where services are going to be available in your communities. Currently, if everything is statistically correct, I've noticed that about 80% of our FRNs are actively engaged in this whole process on substance abuse. And a lot of the FRNs, if it wasn't for us, it would be really difficult to get to those communities. So, we feel that our region, we've collaborated on so many things and cross-pollinated their efforts. It's really important to have our strong family resource networks. Also, if you can do things on a local scale, that's best, but you also tie them back into national efforts. As been mentioned in other communities, we tie into national programs like Project Purple, National Youth Leadership Initiative, Students Against Destructive Decisions. Of course, here in the state with the RAISE initiative, we try to do as much as we can to tie into those national efforts, but bring them down to a local scale. Advocacy is extremely important. If we do not have strong advocacy, we could wither up on the vine and die. I can tell you for first-hand fact that we've had an amazing outreach to our congressional district, to our House members and state members here. We really try to reach out and take that time to go make those connections because that is extremely important. And last but not least, it really comes down to being united across the entire continuum. And that's, we call ourselves, in our prevention end, we call ourselves Prevention Without Borders because we don't think that it's going to stop because you've got a county line or an invisible boundary. We also live on a lot of areas down in the southern part of the state that are on the border state territory. So we're branching over into Kentucky and we're branching into Virginia. And, it's tough because we got issues that we have rules here, they have rules there. And we've got to try to figure out ways where those rules are going to mesh together. So it's tough sometimes. But we believe that if we can come together with a united front, that it's all going to work out. With that, if anybody is here, I know several of you here from Region 6, please stand up to where you could be recognized. And please give them a round of applause because they're doing amazing work. With that, I thank you very much for allowing us to come and present, and I wish you the best of the conference the rest of the week. Thank you.